Let me thank everyone for being here. I want to recognize first and foremost Councilwoman Mary Beth Sussman, who's been a partner for about 3 years now on this initiative. I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank Euless Cleckley, our Executive Director of Public Works, as well as all of the very dedicated men and women of the Public Works Department who are here as well today. And let me just say to each and every one of you, thank you for what you do. We believe in you. We know you're working hard on behalf of each and every one of us every day, and we're going to continue to be your valuable partner, and you're going to continue to be our valuable partner as we continue to make this city even greater. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Give yourselves a round of applause. We are excited to have you here today as we announce a new era in our city's history, one dedicated to moving people and goods more safely and efficiently through our city. You know, when I hired Euless Cleckley as Executive Director of Denver Public Works just over a year ago, has it been just over a year ago? It seems like you've been here forever, man.
It feels like it.
Starting to wear on me, doesn't it? Denver residents were approving the largest transportation bond in its history. I charged Euless at that time with doing a thorough organizational review of Denver Public Works to more effectively deliver transportation and mobility improvements to the people of Denver. We had just completed a thorough analysis and really working on the vision of where we wanted to move with regards to mobility and transportation in this city. Euless and his incredible team, many of whom, as we just acknowledged, are here today, rose to the challenge. The result is the creation of a new Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. This reorganization of the Department of Public Works got underway last summer. It is already helping to support the execution of Denver's Mobility Action Plan, Denver's Moves Transit and Pedestrian and Trails Plan, and Vision Zero Action Plan. Our leadership redefined existing roles and responsibilities and created new roles dedicated to communicating and connecting with neighborhoods. This new way of doing business, we call it the one build method, transportation projects from concept to completion in a more sequential and efficient manner. Just 7 months into this reorganization, the department is already better positioned to deal with our city's growing transportation challenges, including safer streets, more and better options for residents and visitors for moving around town, reducing single occupant vehicle trips to move more people through the city, completing our walking and bicycle networks, eliminating barriers and increasing access to smart technologies and mobility services for everyone, including low-income residents, underserved neighborhoods, and people with disabilities. Now, in the coming weeks, we will ask Denver City Council to send a measure to the voters in November, which will solidify our commitment to providing safe, affordable, equitable, convenient, and seamless mobility networks around our city. It will be a request for a charter change, establishing a new Department of Transportation and Infrastructure in Denver. Many functions currently assigned to Denver Public Works, like the oversight of public right-of-ways, including streets, alleys, and sidewalks, will move under the purview of this new Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. We will create a division of Public Works within the new department that will continue to oversee our solid waste management functions, such as trash, recycling, and compost collections, and our wastewater management operations that keep our stormwater and sanitary sewer systems operating effectively. Because these functions play out every day in our public right-of-way, both under and above ground, it's imperative we keep these functions under the umbrella of our transportation department to ensure continued coordination and integration as we deliver on hundreds of millions of dollars in bond projects approved by the voters. We will also ask that this new Department of Transportation and Infrastructure have the authority as well, including the ability to provide transit and other transportation services in conjunction with RTD or potentially on our own. And so while I'm here at this point, I want to also acknowledge the presence of RTD General Manager Dave Genova. Thank you for joining us as well, Dave. Yes, you can give him a round of applause. Great partner. A Department of Transportation and Infrastructure in Denver is one of the many steps we are taking to reinvent our transportation system to improve connectivity economic opportunity, and quality of life for everyone. Today, we ask Council and the community to make this vision a reality in Denver, to evolve our transportation system into one with a more robust ability to serve the needs of the people who work, live, and play in Denver. Now it's my pleasure to bring up Executive Director Ulice Cleckley to talk more about the work that's already underway. Ulice?
All right, good morning. Thank you, Mayor Hancock and members of Denver City Council and all of the wonderful public servants that work for the Department of Public Works that are here today. If you look around, you can see the strong presence that we've shown today, because we are not only public servants, but we are individuals that have a passion to make sure that we are delivering projects and services on behalf of the residents of the city and county of Denver. And so the turnout today of our employees speaks volumes of the type of culture that we are establishing within our department. And we've been working hard through all of our executive leadership, all of our managers, all of our supervisors, and every single individual to make sure that we are working hard to be a strong, innovative, and united department that meets the challenges and the growing needs of the city's residents and their focus on transportation infrastructure as we move forward. So over the past year, we've consulted with our employees at all levels of the organization to take a hard look at how we are operating and how we're moving projects from planning to design to actually delivery and building out our transportation systems and infrastructure. And so we've continued to ask ourselves, we're great today, but how can we do better in this space? What can we do better, and how we can be organized in a better manner to operate more effectively? At the same time, keeping the spirit of our do-it mentality here in the Public Works Department. And so we reorganized ourselves back in August of this past year by function and implemented a new project delivery strategy that we label One Build, and the mayor made mention of that. This new project delivery strategy moves our transportation infrastructure projects in a seamless, coordinated, and disciplined manner from community input to completion. And then after we build our projects and our assets, we are set up in a better fashion to be able to operate and maintain what we have built. And so just to put a little bit of context to this and how this is a significant change to our department, previous to our reorganization back in August of 2018, we had one division out of 15 business and administrative lines called Transportation and Mobility. That division did a little bit of planning, a little bit of design, did some operational aspects within the right-of-way, had approximately 120 employees. This change that we've executed back in August now has over 1,000 employees that are working in a coordinated fashion to move our transportation system forward. This wasn't an exercise in separation or segregation. This was an exercise in integration and making sure we have modern transportation principles and policies integrated throughout a large organization as we move forward in building out the next 100 years of the city and county of Denver. And so today you will see behind you tables that displays and showcases our new organizational structure and how we are advancing projects from planning toward delivery. And you will see the fact that our two areas that we currently have in the department, which is about solid waste management and our wastewater management activities, that group actually manages our sewer and sanitary lines. You'll see the relationship between those particular activities and our transportation operations as we move forward. So the staff that operates and maintains our sewer systems and sanitary systems impact our streets and our right-of-way. Our transportation system helps to move city vehicles to pick up trash and composting and recycling collection. So it made sense as we move forward to keep them internal to a individual department so we can ensure strong coordination in the future. And so while we clarified the roles back in August of 2018, we're asking the voters to add additional charter changes that will allow us with additional authority and responsibility as we move forward. And there's three of them, and the mayor just touched on this, and I'll touch on it briefly just to be clear. One, we are asking for the establishment to be able to supervise and control all pedestrian facilities, bikeways, and non-motorized trails in the right-of-way, excluding those in parks. There was no mention of this in the current charter, and as we move forward from a multimodal aspect, we want to be explicit that that is the responsibility of the Department of Transportation. Secondly, we are adding in the responsibility to plan, design, construct, maintain, and potentially operate mass transportation services or other transportation services individually or jointly with RTD or another municipal transit provider. This is not saying that we're automatically going to be a transit agency, but this will set us up in the future to have the authority and the power to do so as we move forward and as we implement our Denver Moves Transit Plan. And then lastly, to be more clear and emphasize the department's role in providing programming support for Denver's Vision Zero program, which moves us toward having a safer transportation system for all users within the city and county of Denver. And so today we're called to a new future where city and county of Denver's commitment to improve mobility is met with an innovative strategy and also supported with a strong organizational structure. And so we truly believe internally through all of our employees that we're well positioned. We believe that this proposal of a new Department of Transportation and Infrastructure with a Division of Public Works within it is the next step in our evolution for the city. And it will position us to be able to address the mounting infrastructure needs, harness new technologies, act as an approved steward of public resources, and efficiently and safely deliver the projects to make Denver a world-class city where everyone matters. So we're ready to go, and we're excited, right, Public Works? All right. And so I'd like to introduce District 5 City Councilwoman Mary Beth Sussman, who's been a great partner in this effort. She's been a strong supporter of the creation of a new department focused on transportation and mobility. So up next is the Honorable Mary Beth Sussman.
Thank you, Euless. Good morning, everybody. It's so great to see the crowd here. I could not be more excited. We started this about 2.5, 3 years ago, took it to council. Council said, yes, we need to explore the opportunity to have our own transportation department. You can't just do that overnight, of course. So we spent about 6 months with a Public Works group and with some consultants from New York looking at what other cities had done, what successes they had, what were the outcomes that they had if they did create a new transportation department or if they did not. Then we hired Mr. Cleckley, who knows a lot about transportation, has a lot of experience there, who began right away, as he said, in August to relooking at the department and how we can make the focus on transportation. I am particularly happy about the emphasis on transit. Denver, of course, used to have the Denver Transit Authority, for those who have been here a really long time. And so it's something to rethink again. RTD is doing a great job in their regional responsibility, but Denver has some particular needs, particularly in the inner part of the city where my district is, of getting people around in a more, less single occupancy vehicle way. And I'm very excited about the opportunities for transit. I'm glad that we are going to be able to get in front of all the transit innovations that are coming so that we can be prepared for things like drones and autonomous cars and drones that carry people. And they don't just arrive one day and say, here we are, and we don't know exactly how to manage them. So we're going to get in front of this, of all the new possible technologies. Another thing that I'm really excited about, and I know that the mayor and Euless are very keen on, is multi-modal transportation. It's not just about moving vehicles. It's very important that we move people. We move them by foot. We move them by bicycle. We make sure that we have environments where that becomes as safe as possible, that has as many opportunities as possible, that when we build, we make sure we build walkable communities and bikeable communities, that we think about the placemaking that we are doing in Denver, and we have a department that's going to focus on that, on multimodal transportation. I couldn't be more happy. I thank the mayor, I thank all of the public works people who worked on this, and y'all worked on it, I know, for years. And I'm very excited about what might be possible with the Denver Transportation and Infrastructure Department. Thank you. I think I was supposed to introduce one of my very best comrades and in this what do I want to say, innovation, and that's Pete Van Hooven. Thank you so much.
Hi, good morning. I'm Pete Van Hooven. I'm chair of the Denver Streets Partnership. What happens on our streets matters so much to people. Everyone's affected by how our streets are designed and maintained, and whether we have affordable, safe, convenient ways to get around that give us access to jobs, to schools, to services, to social options. With this request today, Denver Public Works is declaring its intention to lead and deliver on reinventing our transportation systems to build the walking, biking, and transit networks we need to plan proactively for what's coming next, like drone delivery and autonomous vehicles, and also to deliver your street improvements in a much more efficient way. The shift is important because it will position the department to focus on transportation equity, and it's important because Denver has to be able to respond quickly in the fast-changing environment and to plan proactively so today's city and the city we're building provides transportation options that work for everyone. No matter how you get around town or what your community street looks like today, the city's proposed shift means a better street for everyone. That's because it will allow the department to plan and deliver in a synchronized way, so repaving, crosswalks, signage, XL and Denver Water's work can happen in concert. In addition to efficiencies, transportation equity gets a real boost under these changes, and that's important because our neighborhoods need safe, convenient ways to get around, because we need to have transportation systems for our most vulnerable populations, including those that don't drive, like youth and seniors, those in wheelchairs, people who choose or need to get around without a car. And a critical measure of equity is safety, and whether our Vision Zero efforts to eliminate traffic deaths can create safe street environments from Franklin to Federal. Finally, we know as people start to change the way they move around town and more of us choose to get around in a car a little less, we will all benefit. When people walk and bike more, we're taking a whack at Denver's brown cloud, and we're getting a boost in health benefits. When people take transit and light rail, microtransit, or car share, we lighten their transportation costs, lower road maintenance costs, and address congestion. Taken together, these mobility options create a more people-friendly environment and livability for our neighborhoods. So as advocates at the Denver Streets Partnership for street safety, walking, biking, and transit, we know this shift is the right one, and we applaud the city on their action today to elevate transportation as a key city function. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and I think open up for question and answer at this point in time. Jerry?
Is there a price tag on this, or is it all done within existing kind of budgetary efficiency?
Yeah. So one of the things that we evaluated when it comes to having a standalone separate city department to try to execute mobility, when we did our cursory review, if we were to have a standalone department, it would actually add additional costs to the taxpayers. So you start looking at the duplicative services from an administrative standpoint, indirect costs that would be incurred from a standalone department. By keeping everything together, but revisioning and refocusing on transportation mobility within a current construct actually saves the taxpayers about $7.3 million on an annual basis. And so we can use that money to build out the rest of our bicycle infrastructure, all the multimodal projects that we have slated. So that was a critical component for us to make that decision and have this recommendation that you see today.
I'm thinking about one project, the Broadway bike lane, which started in earnest in 2015 and it's still not done. Can you give an example of how this will streamline things to get projects like that done a lot faster?
Correct. So that's one of the things that we recognized very early on in my tenure is that advancing multimodal projects such as bike lanes, you have to come in with a solid plan, but understand how you engage the community as you move forward. A lot of our projects that we're going to be taking a look at have to consider different trade-offs. And so at least from a planning perspective, we understand our approach. We are, for bike lanes throughout the city, the mayor set out that we're to have 125 miles worth of bike lanes to deliver in the next 5 years. We are taking a small strategy approach where we're connecting networks and building out complete networks so we can have greater ways to encourage people to get around on a bicycle. And through that effort, hopefully we will be able to lessen the amount of time that it would take for neighborhood interaction and outreach, but at the same time make sure that they're involved in different strategies that we're moving forward to build out those networks. And so we don't want to be in another situation where we have a 5-year span between a project idea and delivery, and our one build approach, and we'll be able to position ourselves to lessen that amount of time so we can deliver projects more efficiently.
Very good.
Going to the mayor, Governor Polis has made air quality a really big part of his first part of his first time in office.
Yeah.
Part of that comes from industry, the other half comes from automobiles. So I'm curious,
Yeah.
has the governor addressed you directly to help him work on his larger air quality goals as far as demographics?
Not yet, but I'm sure he will. And let me just say, this is part of what we're doing with regards to multimodalism and to address our commitment and goal to reduce our carbon emissions 80% by 2050. But it's also why today we announced through Bloomberg Partnership that the city of Denver has the largest air quality monitoring system being deployed right now in the entire United States of America. And that's going to help us to make sure we're able to address where we're finding challenges based on industry or automobile traffic, but also move in more quickly and more efficiently to protect vulnerable neighborhoods.
When you're looking out into the future to transportation networks, what are we talking about? Like point-to-point routes?
One time. Don't go too far.
Yeah, really, we're focusing on building out systems. And so a set of projects makes a system. If you want to impact a shift of behavior and not having an overly reliance on single occupancy vehicles, you have to build out systems. So we start looking at our transit system in conjunction with RTD and in coordination with the implementation of our Denver Moves Transit Plan. That's a document that says that we need to have more high-capacity transit systems be built out so we can move more people within the city, county, and Denver and regionally. And so the way that we've been approaching some of the transportation mobility projects is on a project-by-project basis, and we're trying to change that approach. We need to move towards having more completed networks and more system-based delivery methods so we can have a better integrated transportation system to move people around and be able to compete in a better and more effective manner with people that are traveling around in a single occupancy vehicle. So it's about system building, not just individual projects.
You mentioned making sure you had control over all the right-of-way. Does that go for streets that CDOT owns?
So we coordinate with CDOT on state highways, Federal Boulevard, Colfax Boulevard, other state highways that they have direct ownership over. We, through at least my tenure here and through the past, we have done a very good job in making sure where there's projects that the state is considering that we're at the table and we're making sure that we are trying to implement the types of projects that we want to see as a city. And so at this point, this is not about transferring ownership just yet, but we are fully engaged in those conversations. We coordinate with them frequently. And we also coordinate with RTD as well. We have over 20 grants that we currently coordinate with RTD on to advance our transit systems, operations throughout the city and county of Denver. And so those partnerships are going to be critical as we move forward.
So when voters vote, nothing will change with the relationship between CDOT and
That's correct. It will remain the same.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.